Hello, welcome back to the Games Kingdom. My name's Carl King and today we're going to be looking at and unboxing Syndicate. It is an Interplanetary Conquest board game by PDU Games. I believe this is their first ever sort of board game. It was delivered via Kickstarter just a few weeks back to me, and if we have a look on the back of the box, it says it is the year 3105 and humanity has spread to the stars. An authoritarian regime known as the Sovereign has long reigned over the Arcturus star system's planets, moons and space stations with an iron fist. But following nearly a decade of political infighting and civil war, the Sovereign's grip on Arcturus is starting to slip, opening the door for criminal organisations to proliferate. You control a young, enterprising criminal syndicate on the fringe of Arcturus, trying to stay under the radar of the Sovereign while competing with the other syndicates for money, power, loyal crews and advanced technologies. You need to complete missions, set up criminal operations and take down anyone who stands in your path to building the most formidable interplanetary criminal empire in the system. So this, as I say, went to Kickstarter and was delivered to me only within the last few weeks. It is a game that they recommend for 14 years and above. From 1 to 5 players. There is a solo campaign that you can play through in the game, which looks quite a nice sort of solo and well thought out solo mode, and normally plays, if you're playing with others, between an hour and a half and 2 hours. So what do you get? Well, you get the obligatory rulebook, you get a game board, you get over 250 cards, you get 10 dual layered player mats, which is basically different crime systems, or syndicates I should say, 79 tiles, 14 dice, 180 resource pieces and 77 marker cubes. And then you get a Sovereign destroyer model, and then you've got your different tracks and punch out tokens, and as I say, in this exclusive Redux edition you get the Engata solo campaign. So the Engata are one of the syndicates that you can play, not only as the sort in the solo campaign, but you can play as that syndicate in the normal game as well. So without further ado, we'll flip it back over and we'll start to unbox. So we have basically here a load of baggies. I've already sort of bagged these things up. I've punched out all of the tokens and things. So you've got your sort of attack ship base, and this is where you put your counters on when you're going around the board attacking and things, other planets. This is the threat alert level, and the sort of higher it goes and you get into sort of the red areas, that's when the Sovereign ship starts to sort of patrol the system and the planets and can cause you problems. We've got some more tokens here. So we have a bag full of, as I say, nice quality tokens, and some of these are dual-sided, and you sort of turn these over during the game and it will reveal certain things. We've got more bags of tokens. Some are only for the solo campaign. We've got a single player token here, cardboard version, but because of backing the Kickstarter as an early bird, I got a metal one as well. They did these as a nice little upgrade for backers. As I say, that's a nice little added touch there. So as you can see there, it says the Engata Solo, so their solo mode as are some of the cards, and these cards are nice quality. I've already sleeved these, sleeved the whole game, to be honest, as I like to do that to make sure that they sort of stay free from my sticky fingers and greasy hands, and when you're out and about and playing with people and you're sort of eating and drinking, I always try and do that to protect the cards. You get some nice little sort of card decks, as I say, more solo, another solo pack of cards. There's quite a lot in the solo mode. It's quite a nice, well thought out, as I say, solo mode for the game. So we've got some more cards here. So as you can see, some base cards, and then on the flip side it will tell you what that base is, the costs to set up, fortify and income per round, and that's the same on all of them. And you use these both in your games against human opponents and also for things like the solo campaign. Some operation cards, so these basically are, or it's another deck of cards that give you different things throughout the game. So as you can see, they're nicely done there, and it tells you what roles you need to do to complete that particular operation or quest. It'll give you all of those, and it will tell you what happens or doesn't happen if you succeed or fail in that particular quest during the game. Some more of the same operation cards, some more solo cards. These are the fuel cards. Basically in the solo campaign, that's a deck that will then determine whether you start to run out of fuel or the Sovereign comes after you. And then we've got some nice crystal tokens. This is the Sovereign ship that will be chasing people around the board. Quite a nice little model. It might give that a little bit of a dry brush eventually, just to pick out some of the finer details. And then we've got a few little sort of gold and silver tokens, stroke cubes, just to see you through the game as currency. And then you have some D6 and a D12, and those are the only dice you need in the game. So and then there's a couple of little clear cubes that are also used within the game. And then we've got some player colour cubes which you'll use on your own boards, and also when you're occupying planets, you'll put these on the planet to show that you're in control of that particular planet in the solar system. This is the board and player boards. So we've got some player boards here. We'll leave the game board for a second. So these are very nice dual layered, so you can put your tokens and things on here, your monies, and then this is your different tracks. Tell you whether you've got your action dice, whether you've used them this turn, whether you've shot at somebody, and then it is there's your sleeper card. You can have one sleeper card active at any one time. So you've got all of the different syndicates. So you've got the Fixers, the Altair, the Terrans, the Ascenders, the Ingata, which is, as I said, is part of the solo campaign. And then you've got Fidge & Co, Phoenix, Orion, the Constellation Corps and Messier Trust. So all of these have got different sort of starting abilities and tech levels and things, so each one will be different. So you'll be playing a unique faction with unique things that will sort of help you achieve your goal of becoming the most successful crime syndicate in the galaxy. We'll have a quick look at the board while we're here. So it is quite a nice looking board. It's not massive, but it is very colourful. This needs to be folded out. So you can see there, you've got different areas down here. It will tell you about your tech levels, the assault levels. When you're the first to do something, you'll gain points. You've got spaces down here for all of the cards that you need. And this is a quite small sort of game area, but nice and compact. Does the job. Doesn't need to really be any bigger than this. It's got quite a few planets, and you put those tokens that I showed you earlier depending on which level or zone. You've got the inner zone here, you've got the middle zone, and obviously a exo stroke outer zone. And then you can obviously sort of travel between the zones. You can use these trade routes to get about, and then you can sort of start to take over some of the planets. There are casinos, there's all sorts of things that will be on these planets. These tokens go down, you don't know what there is, they're all flipped over when you get there. And then obviously up here you've got a round marker. So yeah, nice looking board. And then last but by no means least, there's a very nice and very detailed sort of 39-page rulebook, which goes through everything with some very nice pictures, all detailed, labelled up, so that you can sort of read through what these areas of your player board mean. Same with the cards, gives you sort of indications of the areas on the cards and what those are as an explanation, how they affect you and the game when you're playing. And obviously tells you about the board, about the casinos, the mining centre, the research stations and the military installations. You've got obviously things down the bottom here, it will tell you about that. Gives you a list of components. Shows you there the setting up of the board and how to sort of put out and what cards you need to put out during setup, and what you get as part of your starting sort of resources and things like that. And then it will go through and explain how everything works, assaulting other players' bases, and yeah, you've got extended turn mechanics so you can play alternative rules. You've got player game variation, so once you've learnt the sort of standard game and you've played through that a few times and you want something a bit different, this is quite good. It's almost like an expansion, but they've put it straight in at the start, where you've got your alternative rules, mechanics and game variants. So you've not got to wait for a expansion to be released to sort of continue playing that. You can get used to the game and then add in bits and pieces as you like. And of course obviously you're free to do that whenever you want. And then you've got the solo campaign, some of which it tells you to read beforehand, and other bits it tells you don't read it until you actually get to that particular part in the story, because you play through the campaign and you get to the final vault at Honos. So you know, this is a nice looking game. As I say, came to Kickstarter and was eventually delivered, a little bit late, but obviously things were delayed everywhere in the world, especially things like Kickstarter games, due to the pandemic. So yes, it was a few months late, but that was by no means the fault of the game designers or company, and was just something that everybody has to live with and is still going on. There's still delays with Kickstarters coming along, and I think there will be potentially for another couple of years at least. So if you like the look of this, it's called Syndicate, and again it's by PDU Games. I believe it is going to go to retail, but you can check out their website, and yeah, hopefully I'm going to get this to the table fairly soon, try out the solo campaign, and then maybe get some friends around the table and try it out with some actual sort of human players as well. So there you go, Syndicate, an interplanetary conquest sci-fi game about criminal organisations in space. So until next time, bye for now.